Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Jedi Talk. I am your host, Brad Hughes.
I am Alex Newman.
Look at that. Just like that, we are back. I know if you hear like some music in the background, we don't know what it is. We can only hear it in the headphones. It's very strange.
Yeah, it's weird.
I think it's picking up on like a radio station signal or something. I don't know. It's very odd. So, we're here to talk about our daily wrap-up from Star Wars Celebration 2019 here in Chicago. I'll take this off because it's actually really distracting to hear that music. Day 2, the big day. Probably the biggest day.
Yeah.
I don't know what they can do to top today, because today was insane.
It was insane. On a note, though, Day 2, we still haven't found a chair for this room.
I know.
Hence why I'm still in the bed, just so you guys know.
I'm not like a jerk. I'm like, it's about me.
Yeah, exactly.
You get back there. No, just I'm working on the controls of everything. And I need a desk to do so.
But it was a big day.
It was a big
Very
day.
big day. Episode 9.
Started off today with this. Okay, just quick overview. They were supposed to update the app last night. Didn't happen. It's still a mess. Still a mess. They have kind of just, I think, abandoned the app without officially saying they've abandoned the app. The show store, they said they weren't doing that anymore. Sorry, housekeeping came to deliver some pillows. I think they just kind of abandoned the app. They said they have. We heard through the grapevine that they are no longer doing the show store on the app, which never worked in the first place. No one.
Yeah. I don't know anyone who bought anything.
I don't either.
If a single thing was sold to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's just been a disaster, but we've made the best of it. We kind of just were like, okay, we're going to stay the course yesterday, get the merch we wanted. I'm so glad we did, because we did not have time to do it today whatsoever.
No, I don't think we'll have time.
We saw 2 panels today. It seems like we did a lot more.
It did, didn't it?
We explored a lot, though. We got So we started, let's just run down the day as it happened. So we got up and left the hotel around 5:15ish, maybe 5:10.
No, we got here. We got up
Oh,
at 4:30.
you're right.
We left at like 4:45.
You're right. We got up. Yeah, so we got to the convention center around 5:15. They were supposed to not allow overnight queuing. They're allowing people to get it there pretty early. I mean, the people who were there probably were there at 4. I mean, they had to have been. We were probably 70 people deep. And then they're like, we're going to let you guys in at 6. Well, in meant from outside the metal detectors to inside this metal detectors at this weird, like, tent thing. And we stayed there for an hour and a half.
Yeah, we were all huddled in like cattle.
It was
into this
awful.
Weird,
Outside.
From outside into this inside sort of tent, and then we just were like, cool, all right, we'll get moved in a minute. And then we didn't. Hour and 40 minutes, hour and a half, just standing there.
It was awful. Truly awful.
Yeah.
Excuse us, it is late. We are exhausted. We only got 4 hours. We're doing pretty good for 4 hours of sleep last night, I'd say.
Oh yeah, we're powering through.
Doing great.
We did pretty well though.
So we got in
8, 11 or whatever. Like the second it hit 8, they were on their word and let us into the building.
Into the building, and then we waited until 10 o'clock for the show store, or the show floor. Sorry, 9, 8, 9.
So 8 they let us in. We go
Super
in.
Zoo.
Opens at 10. Yeah, opened at 10, and then the panel was at 11.
Okay, yeah. So we were debating on. We'd been hearing rumors all day that like they're not checking badges, they're not checking QR codes. Should we just show up and go to the panel? I kind of wish we had in a way, because the giveaways they had at the panel were pretty cool. They had like an episode 9 beanie, and then J.J. Abrams apparently brought everybody a McMuffin for breakfast,
and
it was
an
episode 9 Happy Meal box, which was Star Wars Celebration Happy Meal box.
Yeah,
and that's really cool. I would love to have one of those.
But we decided it wasn't worth the risk. That was what it came down to. We were standing in the tent for an hour, so we had a lot of time to think about our strategy. We were like, okay, we could run to the celebration stage and then be stuck in one place, stuck in a non-official line or outside of some sort of random door, and they'll be like, what? No, QR code or leave.
Yeah.
And then we leave, and then we're miles behind and can't go anywhere.
Because the reason we were so torn on it is we were in the front of the line. Like, we were the first 40, 20, 30, 40 people in the line. So we were like, should we risk it and not be able to see the panel in a good view at the Star Wars show live stage, or should we just risk it and go, or should we not risk it and just go in and get a good spot?
Yeah. We
ultimately decided to not risk it because, like you said, if we didn't, we'd be in the very back of that line and we wouldn't have gotten what we wanted.
Yeah.
So we were like, why don't we just do this? Why don't we, the Star Wars Celebrate, the Star Wars show live stage is right next to the Del Rey book booth where they were doing the exclusive cover of Master and Apprentice from Claudia Gray. And the cool thing about it is it comes pre-signed. And we actually met Claudia Gray today, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah. Also comes with a pin of Anakin and Qui-Gon, and in a Yoda tote bag.
Yeah,
so
I forgot about all that.
It's good, so
$45.
The reason we decided to do it was because they only give you a wristband at the start.
Yes.
So we didn't even need to purchase or anything. We just literally walked up, wrists out, got a pink wristband on, and then boom, it was right behind us.
It was right there.
We timed it perfectly, and we were literally in the first 5 rows.
Oh yeah,
from the
and
main
it was just
stage,
it was
the live show.
it was just a big love fest. I mean, everybody was piled in there, crammed in. The energy in that room was insane.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Let's do it. Yeah, everyone was really excited. It was like, it was great energy in the room. And then it kicked off. We had we had the hype man talking, because obviously it was the Star Wars live shows stage. So at 12 they were going to start all the Star Wars live stuff, and they streamed for like 6 or 7 hours. So good on them, and they had a lot of good stuff today apparently.
J.J. Abrams showed up at the stage. John Boyega did.
They had some Rebels
Oscar
people,
Isaac.
Tia Serkar, that kind of thing. And they always have random guests on there that you never tell. So you got the crowd hyped. So we had the crowd hyped, and then at 11, boom, they started streaming it on 2 massive screens, and everyone went wild. It was like we were there. We were excited.
Yeah,
with people
totally.
coming on. There were no real problems. It was just.
We're not going to talk too much about the panel and how it went down, because we already did a podcast about that. It's the
Yeah.
one right under this episode on the podcast feed. So check it out if you're interested in our thoughts. We're going to talk about the
Rest of
episode
the day.
9 trailer, like the theories about
On the
stuff
trailer,
for
yeah.
a second. We're going to dive deep into this too once we get
Sleep.
some sleep. I haven't been this tired, I don't think, in my adult life. I'm exhausted.
There was
So
a trailer. People were in it.
the trailer, the Rise of Skywalker. It's kind of tongue twistery to say,
Yeah.
but I love the title. I think it's very ambiguous and it could mean a lot of things. What is your leading theory about what it means? Up until I mentioned something to you a minute ago, and you were like, "Oh yeah." We've talked about this all day.
I think my leading thing is that it is, because it's the conclusion of the saga of Skywalkers, that it is somewhat of a metaphorical title of it being like the conclusion, but also in a more literal sense. Unfortunately, I think it might have to do with Kylo Ren, with Ben Solo being Ben Skywalker, and some sort of redemption arc. Unfortunately.
I like your other theory way better. And I'm stealing it as my own.
Oh, you want to steal it?
I'm going to steal it. This is 100% your theory that you came up with. And I love this, because I hadn't even considered this. And we were in line, and you go, you know what? Rise doesn't have to mean a good thing. And actually, I think in the past, it hasn't meant a good thing. Like, Rise in Star Wars, you associate with Rise. And it's Anakin becoming Vader. Lord Vader. From now on, you will be known as Darth Vader. Rise. And so that doesn't really mean it's a good thing, like a good rise.
Yeah, but the only reason we assume Rise is a good thing is because A, Rise of the Resistance has been playing on our mind a lot recently, and B, because it's the final one of the trilogy, but Revenge of the Sith was not a positive title, so
it doesn't have to be positive.
The Rise of Skywalker could be Kylo Ren's rise to power.
Yeah, as Supreme Leader.
A Supreme Leader.
Supreme Leader Skywalker.
Supreme Leader Skywalker.
Sounds weird.
Wouldn't be mad though.
No.
Wouldn't be mad if it happened.
It'd be kind of cool. It'd be a very different way to go.
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't want him to get redeemed. Not because I don't think it would be good, because I'm always open to anything as long as it's good, right? I just think that it would be another, you fall, you get redeemed, or you turn, you get redeemed.
Yeah.
How many times are we gonna see that? Like,
exactly, because we have the prequel where we have a man go from the light to the dark.
I feel like every Star Wars movie
where we have the dark go to the light with Vader, with Anakin again.
Yeah, right.
So this time, I think it'd be. I don't say I have the answers, but I don't really want the whole now he's good. Or,
It's a cop out.
Feels like a cop out.
Feels
Feels like
cheap.
a Vader repeat.
Yeah, it does. I don't know. I just know that I'm super excited. Like I even said this to you. I was like, when the panel hit, and I still stand by it, kind of. I was in the moment. And I was super. People were crying and freaking out. If you haven't seen the trailer reaction that the audience had in that arena, you got to go watch it on the YouTube channel. I mean, it's literally someone tweeted me and said they watched it and they were crying at home. Like, it was that powerful. I mean, it's insane how much people love Star Wars. And if you love Star Wars, you need to go watch it because it's pretty crazy.
People really do like Star Wars.
People were like in tears, and I was like, man, I get it. It's the end of the saga. It's the end of the saga. It's the end. Yeah. This is it. This is the last. This is the last Star Wars episodic teaser trailer we're ever gonna get.
I know. It's the last of the trilogy. It's a trilogy that people have held dear.
Totally. You know, I want to bring up Rian Johnson got a huge applause when he got mentioned today by JJ, and I thought that was great.
It was good. And just being here, like, you know, people can say what they want about the sequels, but the amount of Reys and Poes and Finns and Holdos, and sequel characters you see is phenomenal.
It's insane.
Here, so you know, people say what they want, but people love these characters, and they have become very dear to us.
They actually have, and I think people need to remember. If you don't like something, like the person on Twitter today, if you don't like something, it's not a fact that your opinion is not a fact. My opinion is not a fact. It's an opinion.
Yeah.
And if someone like me or you who likes Last Jedi, we should be allowed to like it without being called, it's ruined Star Wars. Has it? It hasn't. I also wanted to bring this up because we've been talking about this all day. Like we usually talk about other stuff too. We really haven't today. It's been mostly.
You went to dinner.
It's all Star Wars.
So what do you think of this scene of the trailer? What are 3 theories you could make out of this one scene?
I wanted to bring up something we've talked about before on the show about Episode 9 being a sequel to 7, and I brought up I think it was me. Was it me or you that brought up the point that I'm about to do? It was us. Okay, I don't remember who it was. We are a team. I love you.
Love you.
Episode 7 was JJ's first film, right? So he's back for 9, and we were concerned that he was going to make a sequel to Episode 7 versus a sequel to Episode 8. And we started really breaking it down. It's kind of one big movie. It's kind of a two-parter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely its own separate film for sure, like no duh. But it kind of is one continuation of a single story in Star Wars. Not, you know, the whole thing is not a big story, but it's literally like...
It'd be hard for him to jump over.
If you cut out the credits and the title crawl of Episode 8 and just went from 7 to 8, it would feel completely natural.
Yeah.
Like a cutaway, and then you're back to Octo Island.
Yeah.
Which there was somebody cosplaying as Octo Island, and it made me laugh so hard. Did you see it? You saw it today.
The one with the
porgs.
Yeah, they were like Octo Island with porgs on. And then we saw...
It was awesome.
We saw Cruella de Vil, but with porgs.
With porgs, yeah. It
101 porgs.
Was it Cruella de Porg?
Cruella de Porg. We got a business card.
It's somewhere.
She told us how to cook porgs.
Rosemary, butter.
Slowly cooked.
So I'm not concerned about that anymore. Now that we've kind of thought that up, and like it's just kind of one big story.
We did debate. We talked about like what are the if we were to do the whole, what were the 5 things out of 8 that like JJ couldn't or shouldn't backtrack on? You know, there's always little things that he could, and we worry he might. But what are the things he could? You know, the Snoke death. The what else did we say? I'm trying to think.
We mentioned Rose Tico before, but I don't know how that's going to work. JJ seems to like her, but she's not in the trailer.
She's not in the trailer,
which is kind of strange.
But she was in some of the promo shots we saw.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, the panel was great.
Mm.
I had a lot of fun. All right, so let's talk about we'll talk more about the trailer. We'll do a trailer breakdown.
We didn't even mention the Emperor.
Oh, right, we didn't.
Didn't even get that far.
Didn't get that far. Do you want to talk about it?
I think we did. Did we talk about it in
our
breakdown?
We did, right?
We talked about our reaction. So, like, you know.
Take that and just plug that in here if you're listening, because it's
exactly.
We don't need to repeat ourselves, especially when it's the same podcast feed and the same YouTube channel. Then we went and queued up for the music of Star Wars, and we quickly realized if we stayed the course and stayed there for that, we would miss the panel we really wanted to see.
Which was the publishing panel.
Which we got. So we got up and we're like, I'm glad we did that because I needed to sit down.
Yeah.
Like I don't think people realize how taxing it is to stand in line for 5 hours for something. Like
it's so exhausting, and to get there so early.
Yeah. With no sleep, and it's a mess.
Very little food.
Not complaining, by the way. I don't want to feel like I'm so tired. It's just
it's been amazing. It's been such a good time.
The best, and it's thanks to you guys that we're here. But it's I'm just tired.
Yeah.
It gets to a point where you go like I'm just done. So we
went to the publishing.
Where we were at,
and that's probably the first time that the app paid off for us.
Yeah, it did.
Yesterday at some point I was able to snag the the light speed queuing has not worked for anyone, but the reservation for panels, apparently you were able to reserve one panel per stage per day, and that was only in an email weeks ago or months ago that they said that. This is just a list of things, and some of them randomly have redeem or whatever, and some of them have cancelled, and some of them don't have anything. So I was able to get like some sort of reservation for the publishing panel with the QR code, and that got us really good seats, which was nice. So the app did actually help once.
I recorded the entire panel, audio and video and audio, and I'll be posting it somewhere. So if you're interested in it, it was actually a really cool panel.
Yeah.
It was moderated by the head executive of Lucasfilm Publishing,
yeah.
But he was fantastic.
He was great. He really
got some good questions.
No
softballs,
fluff.
no nothing like super easy. I was very interested in the process. I still want to go talk to. I should have asked Claudia Gray when we met her. Spoiler alert. But like I've always wondered, do you pitch a story to Lucasfilm or do they approach you with a story?
I'd say it's a bit of both, from what they said.
It sounded like they have like a slate.
Yeah.
And they like either go like, would you be interested in doing this book or this book?
Yeah.
But I'm curious if they go like, I don't want to do that. I want to do this story about X, Y, and Z. E.K. Johnson said in the panel.
She wanted to do the Padme one for ages, so I think she was the latter. She was like pushing, talking to Lucasfilm about it. Whereas Timothy Zahn sort of implied that like he sort of like Lucasfilm come to him with like, here's the Thrawn book. Mm-hmm. Not that like they have any input on the title or the plot, but more they're just like, we'd like another one, please.
Yeah, can you please do this because we want you to do it. One of the things that E.K. Johnson said too in the panel that people on the panel laughed at her, and I don't understand why. The question was, what Star Wars character, not one of the main ones, if you could write, what would you write? Everybody had a different answer. But E.K. Johnson said she would like to do a teenage...
A YA.
Young adult novel, Palpatine.
I get why people laugh at that.
Why?
Well, A, it was
I don't get
left field, and then B...
Yeah, but that's a good answer.
She said she wanted to talk about him flunking out of art school.
That's fine.
Do you know who flunked out of art school?
Hitler.
Yeah, that was why everyone laughed.
But he is...
Space Hitler.
Space Hitler.
Yeah.
Space Hitler.
That's what he is.
Oh my god, hashtag episode 9, hashtag Space Hitler.
Hashtag Spitler.
Oh god, Spitler. I think that'd be interesting though. Give him that anger, get him motivated to do something else.
I think it's the YA bit.
Really?
I don't think it needs to be YA. I don't like. Almost seems bad. To
but I feel like you could. I don't know. I would be interested in anything Palpatine at this point.
Yeah, that's what it is.
They did announce a few small things. We got more details about the Galaxy's Edge books. Again, if you want to hear the whole panel, I will have it up in 2 different ways, video and audio.
Yeah.
And you can check that out. But they did announce, the big announcement at the very end was that they are doing a Road to Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker series of books, and I'm very interested about that.
Excited about that.
We got more details about there's a Young A Black Spire novel coming out, but it sounds really, really good. Are you grabbing it? They gave out these. I don't know why I'm holding 2 mics. That's my face. They gave out these. It's called a Crash of Fate. Actually, that's a quite literal crash.
Yeah.
That brings these 2 characters together on Batuu.
I think it sounds like it's a bit of a, like a sort of a love story mixed with adventure and action. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's good.
And then after that panel, we went and explored the show floor a little bit. We got to go to the Galaxy's Edge Pavilion. I feel like one of my biggest complaints about Celebration, and I don't want to keep harping on this, but this was something that they didn't know anything about Galaxy's Edge. Remember we asked her, like, what? I was like, God, what's the name of that restaurant that's going to be there? And they're like, what are you talking about? And I was like, that one that has concept right there. Like, it's like Docking Bay 7 or something. And they're like, no, that's Ronto's Roasters. And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm pretty sure it's called Docking Bay 7. And I had to Google it when 3 cast members came over and were like, that's not what it's called.
Then they Googled it.
And they're like, oh, yeah, you're right. And I'm like, you're working at the Galaxy's Edge. Like, did they not just, like, give them the like the rundown of everything?
Yeah,
like, I don't understand. It'd be like if someone came up to you and they're like, hey, like you sold hot dogs. And you're like, hey, what kind of hot dog is this? How's it made? I don't know. I just stand here.
Yeah.
Do you like put it on the grill? Oh yeah, we put it on the grill. No, we boil it. No, I don't know. I don't know what we do.
Is it cold when you eat it?
You'd be like, what's happening?
Yeah.
It's a little tad frustrating.
There's a bit of, like, we actually said that about a lot of the, they were everyone was extremely nice. There's just a lot of, not supposed to know a lot of the answers that we have. I'll ask a question about where things are. A lot of people didn't seem to know where things were.
One of the things we asked today was like, how do we get to this certain stage? And they're like, I think you go all the way on the other side, up 2 stories and around. She was right, but it was just like, if those directions weren't right, you'd be wandering around the convention
but
center.
But she wasn't sure if it was 2 or 3. People, and I don't know, just no one. And we'd already asked 2 people before that, so no one seemed to know where.
I don't understand why they don't bring the crew in. Hey, 3 days before, everybody has to be here. We're gonna walk the floor with you and show you where everything is. You don't need to remember every single detail, but you should be able to go like, it's on the 2nd floor. How do I get to the 2nd floor? They'll literally be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You're like,
oh no.
Well, I don't either, man. I'm here as a guest. Like, I'm here to enjoy. Like I don't. Shouldn't be with a compass and a map trying to find out where I'm going.
Yeah.
We got to do the Galaxy's Edge stuff, like I said. Big panel tomorrow from Galaxy's Edge. Tomorrow's a pretty big day.
Gonna be a big.
Tomorrow might be the biggest day as far as news goes. Like amount of news. Like I think the big news was episode 9.
Yeah.
Like as far as event kind of stuff news goes. But I think tomorrow quantity we're gonna have a lot of stuff. We'll be recording the Galaxy's Edge panel. They're gonna be. You know what? I might not record all of it. They're live streaming it. So there'll be no point watching my crappy version of it. I'll do reactions and stuff of the crowd, but I'm not going to record the whole thing.
Yeah, probably worth it.
I'll record the whole thing on audio so you can have it as a podcast. Because I don't have to do anything. I just set it up and just be done with it. Maybe. We'll see what happens. And then after that we have the Jedi Fallen Order panel.
Very
and then
excited.
the Marvel Publishing panel.
If we can swing it.
Okay.
It's a bit of a weird one. The times, they're next to each other. Like
the
timing.
We're also doing Vader Immortal tomorrow. They're doing a demo of Vader Immortal on the show floor.
So if we get a chance, we're gonna do that.
And I think that's it, right? That's it
for tomorrow.
That's the major stuff.
If we get those 3 done, I'd be very happy.
Yeah, we'll get it done. We'll get it done. Because we don't have to wait in line for those first 2 big panels. We're just gonna stroll in. We have the QR codes. We won that one. The lottery.
We got a QR code for Marvel. We just gotta run. The timing is bad. Timing. It's not the line. It's just by the time we get to the QR code, it could be worthless for Marvel. Yeah, it's true. And it overflows, which it's hard to know with that panel. Like, because today, like the publishing panel, I would have thought would be very popular. There were a lot of people lined up, but I think you could have. No one got turned away. From what I saw, it looked like you could have turned up 5 minutes before and gotten in the back.
Seat, yeah. That was a good panel. I really liked that one a lot.
Yeah.
It was very, very entertaining. We've seen all those amazing authors on stage together, and every one of them was very different. It was very, very interesting.
A lot of different personalities.
I think you'll like the interview, even if you don't read the books. Hearing how they write and the process is pretty interesting.
There was a diversity there because it wasn't just the Del Rey; it was the Lucasfilm one. Had the person who writes Darth Vader and Son, Darth Vader and Family.
Yeah, Darth Vader
and
his little princess,
Pals,
which looks super cute.
Yeah, one of the guys that writes sort of like an in-universe
field guide.
Field guide, like it's like
that seems a little. Fun. I don't like that kind of stuff. Where it's like
it's not for me. But honestly, only it's because I don't have time.
If I'm going to invest time,
if I'm investing time in Star Wars, I'm reading.
I want a story.
Your canon content.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, it's a fun way to get into the universe. Like.
The visual dictionaries are kind of that kind of thing, but the visual dictionaries give canon stuff.
And they're very clinical, whereas this is very.
This is like
what was
humor.
How not to get eaten by
Ewoks.
Ewoks and other things. So it was sort of like an in-universe guide on if you were in space, watch out for Minox and stuff like that. So
they did announce another series that he's doing too. How to be more like Leia.
He did how to be like Vader and how to be like Yoda, and that was a sort of good versus bad. And now he's doing how to be like Leia and how to be like Lando.
Which
so it's
is
sort of
cool.
how to be sort of the brave leader versus the sort of scoundrel charmer.
It's
and they're fun reads. You know what I mean? They're good for kids.
It's like chicken soup for the soul in Star Wars.
Exactly, yeah. And so then we had YA, and then we had adult, and then we had Zan, and then we had the person who is one of their creative, what would you call her, the publisher, I suppose? Or
She's the editor-in-chief.
The editor-in-chief, so she was she reads all of them and designs stuff, so...
And writes herself. She's a talented lady.
Yeah.
Then we got to meet Claudia Gray, which is the highlight of my day.
Yeah.
I love her books so much.
Yeah,
I cannot wait to dive
polite,
into
very
this.
nice as well.
She was very sweet. I cannot wait to dive into that Master and Apprentice book. I cannot wait to carve out an afternoon and breeze through that thing. It's going to be an easy read.
And then we had a little chat with, I always have to read her name, Zoida Cordova,
who was doing that book we were talking
she's doing
about.
that book we were just
She was super cool.
Yeah, delightful.
One of the things I thought was super interesting was they were talking about how hard it was to write for Galaxy's Edge, having never been there, and only going on notes from Imagineering. I thought that was really fascinating and something I didn't even consider.
And then
because like you're writing about something that isn't real but is real, but you haven't been there yet.
Or you're also writing about something that like is established, and the people you're writing to have very concrete ideas on what they've designed.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, you've got this free open space, but these people have already done a lot of work on the location and have ideas about what to do.
Yeah.
And the editor-in-chief said something really interesting. She talked about how like the authors would ask them questions about certain things. They'd be like, "Huh, yeah, I guess it can be like that because we hadn't even thought of that."
Yeah.
And there'd be certain things that they'd say, "Oh, the Imagineers have said it's like this, this, and this," and the authors have gone, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
And the way she described it is that they were very imaginative when they needed to be imaginative, and they were very flexible when Lucasfilm needed them to be flexible.
It's cool collaboration there.
Yeah.
Kind of unprecedented. So yeah, that was day 2.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we're gonna be back at it. Not as early. We're gonna actually get some sleep
We're
tonight.
getting a little bit more sleep.
This might be delayed a little bit because I wanted to bring this up too. This hotel, the Wi-Fi. First off, they charge you for it.
Whack.
It's $10 a day for 24
Super
hours.
whack.
Insane. And then it's slower than my 5G.
Ultra whack.
So I'm having to like upload these long freaking videos with no Wi-Fi. So if these get delayed, I apologize. But we're making them every day.
Yeah. The Wi-Fi
you might not get it every day.
has been very consistent.
Yeah, I was surprised. It was great.
Good, you know. And I feel
great.
like we have sort of done a bit of complaining about Celebration, but like it's been a lot of good points. And again, I think I said this on day one. I'll say it again today. Even though some people didn't know things well, everyone's been very friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's been very nice, very considerate, and really accommodating. So
And understanding too, like we know the app is garbage.
yeah, exactly. Like no one was
Like they helped us out today with when you had a QR code, and I was like, I can't.
your
I have
media
a
badge doesn't
media
even
badge.
work for QR codes.
Yeah,
She
I
was
can't
like,
do anything.
Is it just 2 of you? And she was like, yes.
Yeah,
And I was just like,
come on in.
"It's
And I'm
fine."
like, oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
But cool. So wrapping this up. Any final thoughts?
'Twas a good day.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like just the title of episode 9?
It's growing on me.
Yeah, the
I
rise.
think it
of
was like
Skywalker.
a 5 when I first heard, and it's probably like
Really?
an 8 and a 9 now.
Oh man, when I first heard it, I was like an 11 and a half. I was like, yeah.
Just so just as time goes on, I'm thinking
cool.
about it, I'm growing around, and you know, the more we theorize, the more excited I get.
All right, friends, check out all the stuff we've been doing. Go on Twitter if you want to interact with us all over on there. We're doing updates from Celebration on the show floor, doing everything. We're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff tomorrow. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave a comment, leave a review over on iTunes, or however you listen to the podcast. Leave a review of the show. That would help us out a lot. And we will see you guys tomorrow. May the Force be with you.
Always.